An oil refinery in Russia's Samara region was targeted in a drone strike in the early hours of Tuesday. Russian Telegram channels reported explosions were heard in Syzran, with the regional governor confirming an attack on one of the city's industrial facilities, claiming that Russian air defenses had neutralized the drones. The refinery produces gasoline, diesel, aviation fuel and bitumen, making it a vital asset for Russia's military. The site was previously attacked on February 19, which had caused a suspension in operations. Meanwhile, the Russian Baza Telegram channel reported that several other drones targeted the Novokubishevsk oil refinery in the Samara region, causing a fire to break out. Ukraine will receive 26 more GSC-200 mine-clearing vehicles from Germany by the end of the year, reports the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. After visiting the Baden-Württemberg manufacturer Global Clearance Solutions, more machines were promised to the defense representatives, with 62 already in service of the Ukrainian State Emergency Service, Armed Forces and National Police. The mine-clearing vehicles are funded by donors all over the world, including from the United 24 fundraising platform. Ukraine is one of the most mine-contaminated countries in the world, according to the United Nations Mine Action Service. Explosive ordinances continue to pose a grave threat to civilians, hinder agricultural development, and make reconstruction efforts more dangerous.
We're seeing literally millions of mines being used in under 1,000 days. The conflict started around 1,000 days ago. If you say 5,000 mines a day laid, that's actually 5 million mines now have been laid in Ukraine in the last 1,000 days.
President Trump reportedly decided to pause all U.S. military aid for Ukraine, according to Bloomberg, citing a senior Defense Department official who asked to remain anonymous. The suspension will last until Trump determines that the Ukrainian leadership has demonstrated a commitment towards peace. This order applies to all U.S. military equipment not yet in Ukraine, including weapons in transit on aircraft and ships or in holding warehouses in Poland. Bloomberg also reports that, according to the White House official, they're going to review military aid to ensure it helps in solving the conflict. The Trump administration still had $3.85 billion in undrawn funds for Ukraine, which will also reportedly be affected. The possible halting of U.S. military supplies to Ukraine would be the, quote, greatest contribution to peace, stated the Kremlin's spokesperson. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen presented a 5-step plan to rearm the European Union and support Ukraine. The new initiative could see close to 800 billion euros being allocated. The rearm plan consists of major components such as unlocking national defense spending, 150 billion euros in defense investment loans, expanding the EU budget and mobilizing private capital for defense, and leveraging the European Investment Bank.
We are in an era of rearmament. And Europe is ready to massively boost its defense spending, both to respond to the short-term urgency to act and to support Ukraine, but also to address the long-term need to take on more responsibility for our own European security.
The southern city of Odesa was once again targeted by Russian forces. 4 people were injured in a drone attack on Monday night. 3 of them, residents of private houses, were hospitalized with shrapnel wounds and limb fractures. 1 civilian sustained a concussion. The strike caused emergency power outages in some parts of the city as the energy infrastructure was damaged. Falling debris and blast waves also resulted in private houses and business center being wrecked. Norwegian authorities are looking at a major increase in military aid to Ukraine and defense spending. Norway is considering using the world's largest sovereign wealth fund to boost support for Ukraine, reports the Euractiv news website. Norway holds 1.7 trillion euros in their sovereign fund, including an estimated 109 billion euros in war-related profits from increased gas prices in 2022 and 2023. So far, the Nordic country has spent a little over 3 billion euros on support to Ukraine, with both liberal and conservative representatives telling Euractiv that Norway's assistance should be increased significantly and fast. The decision to suspend military aid to Ukraine makes peace more distant, believes the French Minister Delegate for European Affairs Benjamin Haddad. During an interview with France 2, he stressed that this will strengthen the aggressor, which is Russia. He underlined that Ukraine has been defending itself bravely since 2014.
Fundamentally, if we want peace, does a decision to suspend arms supplies to Ukraine strengthen peace or move it further away? It takes it away because it would only strengthen the hand of the aggressor on the ground, Russia. There's one aggressor in this war, Russia. Ukraine has been defending itself courageously for 3 years, and even since 2014. Basically, when you're in the situation we're in, if we want to put an end to this war, if we want to achieve a lasting peace with solid security guarantees, well, we have to put pressure on the aggressor, which is Russia, and not on Ukraine, as we seem to have been seeing for some weeks now.
Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk reports that information from the border and logistic hub at the Rzeszów-Jasionka airport confirms the pause in US aid to Ukraine. He stated this in the opening of a Polish government meeting.
As you know, today a decision was announced to suspend American aid for Ukraine and to possibly start lifting sanctions on Russia by the American side. Today we have no reason to believe that these are just words. Moreover, reports that are coming from the border from our hub in Jasionka also confirm the announcements of the American side. And this, of course, puts Europe, Ukraine, and of course Poland in a more difficult situation. We have to cope with this situation, so there is no point in being offended by reality here.
Ukraine will continue to work with the United States through all available diplomatic channels, reported the Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal. He underlined that Ukraine is thankful for all the military aid from Washington, which has already saved tens of thousands of lives, both civilian and military.
We will continue to work with the US Congress, with President Trump's administration, with President Trump, through all available diplomatic channels in a calm manner, in order for Ukraine and the US to continue our fight for fair, long-lasting, stable peace in Ukraine and on the European continent. Of course, we count on the US support, because of the significant amount of support, including intelligence exchange and the important element, air defense, the protection of our skies, cities, civil infrastructure, Ukrainian civilians. This is the US contribution.
Shmyhal stated that as of yesterday evening, US assistance was ongoing. However, Shmyhal acknowledged risks for the repair, maintenance and general supplies of the US Patriot air defense systems, which according to him are the only way to repel Russian ballistic missile strikes. Still, he hopes Ukraine can find solutions with the US and other partners. During the press conference, Shmyhal also stressed that Ukraine is ready to sign the mineral deal with the United States.
We, I repeat, are thankful to the Americans, to the American nation. We are ready to sign the deal that is prepared about the creation of the investment fund to start working with the US on an absolutely pragmatic economic base.
Australia is open to requests to take part in peacekeeping operations in Ukraine, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said during a press conference in Sydney on Tuesday.
Australia stands ready to assist. We've contributed $1.5 billion with $1.3 billion for military assistance directly. There's discussion at the moment about potential peacekeeping, and from my government's perspective, we're open to consideration of any proposals going forward.
Albanese told reporters that Australia stands with President Zelensky and the brave struggle of the Ukrainians to defend their sovereignty.
We want to see peace in Ukraine, but we want to make sure that the illegal, immoral actions of Russia are not rewarded.
However, the Prime Minister stressed that there was no concrete proposal on the table as of yet, nor had Australia been asked to contribute its troops.